Houston. Houston has no zoning laws, and it shows. You can find a strip club next to a school, a chemical plant beside houses, and no one cares. This free-for-all setup created neighborhoods that feel scattered and messy. Streets flood every rainy season because wetlands were paved over years ago. You spend hours in traffic because public transport is almost non-existent. Highways cross the city like a concrete maze, making morning commutes feel like full-day adventures. The city keeps spreading outward, turning simple errands into long drives. Living here feels like dealing with chaos constantly. Houston has charm, but planning is not one of them. You adapt, but daily life is stressful and unpredictable. Visitors may enjoy its diversity, but locals know the struggle is real. Brasilia. Brasilia was meant to be a futuristic city, but it forgot the people who live there. From above, it looks impressive, shaped like a bow and arrow, but getting around is tough. Residential blocks are far apart, with empty grass fields between them. Government buildings fill the center, but there are almost no shops or cafes nearby. Want lunch after a doctor's visit? That means a 15-minute drive. Roads are built for cars, not people, and crossing major streets takes forever. The city was meant for 500,000, but 3 million live in unplanned areas now. Favelas feel livelier than the planned center. Brasilia may look stunning, but living there can feel lonely and isolating. It's a city that amazes from above, but confuses on the ground. Dubai. Dubai is flashy, but it has forgotten practicality. Skyscrapers soar, and artificial islands shine, yet walking anywhere is a struggle. Metro lines cover only a small part of the city, leaving residents stuck in long traffic jams. Sidewalks are rare, crosswalks even rarer, and streets often feel unsafe. Outdoor areas are scorching in the heat with almost no shade. Everyone relies on air conditioning, using huge amounts of energy. Grocery stores are often hidden in high towers. A walk to the beach can mean dodging traffic constantly. Dubai looks amazing from the outside, but it forgets human needs. Living here feels like being trapped in a luxury postcard where common sense was skipped. Even locals admit daily life is more exhausting than glamorous. Phoenix. Phoenix spreads across the desert, and comfort was clearly not considered. The grid creates huge blocks, forcing you onto fast roads where crossing on foot is risky. Public transport exists but feels like an afterthought, with stops in the middle of highways. Water use is extreme, with lawns and golf courses thriving in a dry climate. Commuting is long because the suburbs stretch far from downtown. Heat islands make summer unbearable. The lack of parks and green planning makes things worse. Growth continues without considering human needs. Phoenix shows that just because you can build a city somewhere doesn't mean you should. Daily life is like solving a hot, sprawling puzzle with no end in sight. Even residents with air-conditioned cars feel drained by the heat. Beijing. Beijing's roads were meant to move people faster, but created traffic jams instead. Ring roads slice through the city, cutting neighborhoods off from each other. Rush hour is non-stop, with all 6 rings clogged. Public transport is crowded, and not enough for everyone. Old neighborhoods were torn down for wide highways that quickly filled with cars. Bicycles were removed, forcing people to drive or risk danger. Workers live far from jobs, meaning 4-hour daily commutes are normal. Solutions like license plate lotteries barely help. The city is huge, and human comfort is often ignored. Beijing shows that even cities with history and resources can fail at simple planning. Despite its beauty, daily travel feels like a battle against the clock. Calgary. Calgary is built for people who love driving, and walking is optional. Downtown has skyways that feel like hamster tubes, connecting empty office towers in winter. Suburbs stretch endlessly, with identical houses and strip malls. Missing an exit adds long detours. Public transport is limited, and buses stop early, so social life requires a car. New neighborhoods often have no sidewalks because planners assume everyone drives. Building on floodplains increases risks. Property taxes fund suburbs while inner-city streets crumble. Living in Calgary means relying on a car for almost everything. Comfort and convenience take a back seat to sprawl and vehicle-focused planning. Life here is mostly about driving, not walking or relaxing. Even simple errands feel like long, scheduled trips. Brussels. Brussels struggles because 19 municipalities run the city with no coordination. Neighborhoods were torn down for office towers that look like parking garages, and cultural areas became concrete wastelands. Traffic cuts through historic streets, polluting and moving slowly. Public transit is fragmented, with different tickets for buses, trams, and metros. Recycling rules change depending on the street. The city looks beautiful in some spots, but feels chaotic once you leave landmarks. Developers often ignore historic buildings, turning them into luxury apartments. Brussels shows how a lack of central planning and too much developer power can make a European capital confusing and frustrating for both residents and visitors. Daily life often feels messy and stressful despite pockets of beauty. Walking anywhere off the main tourist path quickly becomes frustrating. Perth. Perth is far from other major cities, yet it spreads without limits. Suburbs stretch along the coast, with low density and long distances to services. Public transport exists but is unreliable. Buses are inconsistent, and trains mostly run north-south, so you need a car for east-west travel. New suburbs were built far from downtown without rail, making driving essential. Water depends on rainfall that has decreased over time, yet pools and lawns are everywhere. Traffic costs billions yearly, but solutions are minimal. Downtown is empty after 6 p.m. as everyone stays stuck in cars. Perth shows that even isolated cities can struggle when planning focuses on expansion rather than livable communities. Residents spend more time in cars than enjoying the city itself. Los Angeles. Los Angeles is built for cars. Freeways stretch endlessly, turning short drives into long trips. Public transit exists but is slow, unreliable, and fragmented, making commuting stressful. Neighborhoods are spread out, so even simple errands need driving. Walking is unpleasant with inconsistent sidewalks, wide streets, and constant traffic. Heat makes walking exhausting, and shade is rare. Parking is expensive, and streets are clogged all day. LA's growth focused on spreading outward, not building walkable communities. People rely on cars for everything, which worsens traffic and pollution. The city may be exciting, but living here is inconvenient and tiring. Daily life requires constant driving, leaving little room for easy, stress-free routines. Even locals admit they plan every trip carefully to survive the traffic. New York City. New York City seems ideal until you face crowded streets and confusing zoning. Sidewalks are narrow, and traffic is heavy, making walking tricky. Subways are old, often late, and packed at rush hour. Residential areas can be far from stores, forcing extra travel for simple errands. Skyscrapers create wind tunnels, and parks are limited. Noise is constant, from cars to construction. Rent is high, pushing many people far from work, leading to long commutes. The city is lively, but its infrastructure struggles to support it. Life is exciting but exhausting, as comfort and efficiency take a back seat to density and activity. Navigating the city requires patience and planning. Even New Yorkers admit weekends are often spent just getting around. Moscow. Moscow's design focuses on grandeur over practicality. Wide streets cut through neighborhoods, and winter makes walking hard. Public transport works well, but the suburbs are poorly connected. Highways go through historic areas, isolating communities. Apartment complexes are dense but far from shops, so people rely on cars. Roads freeze in winter, and sidewalks are icy or blocked. The city looks impressive, but daily life is tricky. Residents balance convenience with navigating streets built more for show than ease. Moscow shows that a beautiful city can still be hard to live in. Life here takes patience and constant adaptation. Even locals joke about surviving a winter walk as a sport. Tokyo. Tokyo mixes efficiency with chaos. Streets are narrow and winding, making driving stressful and parking hard. Public transport is excellent but overcrowded at peak times. Suburbs are far from the city center, so long commutes are common. Some neighborhoods are lively and walkable, while others feel empty after work. Space is tight, leaving little room for parks. Factories, houses, and apartments often exist side by side. Living here means dealing with crowds and traffic constantly. Tokyo works well for moving people efficiently, but comfort can be limited. Residents must plan carefully to find quiet and manage a high-density lifestyle. Even daily shopping or errands feel like a careful schedule to survive the crowds. Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is chaotic with more people than the city can handle. Streets are crowded, and traffic jams are a daily occurrence. Public transport is overcrowded, and buses and subways are packed. Walking is hard, especially in the heat or rain. Industrial areas mix with homes, and sidewalks are uneven or blocked. Wealth differences are extreme, leaving some areas cut off from services. Noise, pollution, and crowds add stress. Rapid growth without planning makes the city feel alive but exhausting. Residents adapt, but convenience is rare. Sao Paulo shows how a city can feel full of energy yet hard to live in without proper planning. Even locals admit that getting around requires patience and strategy. Mumbai? Mumbai is one of the densest cities in the world. Streets are narrow and packed with traffic, people, and vendors. Slums exist next to high-rises, creating big gaps in services and infrastructure. The train system carries millions, but overcrowding is relentless. Roads flood in the monsoon, making travel unpredictable. Sidewalks are crowded or missing, and crossing streets is risky. Suburbs push essential services far away, so people rely on cars or trains. Noise and pollution add to stress. Life in Mumbai is busy and exhausting as the city grows faster than it can manage. Residents adapt, but comfort is often sacrificed for survival. Local markets and street life add energy but make movement slower. Mexico City. Mexico City is huge, making daily life hard. Traffic is constant, turning short trips into long drives. The metro helps, but it is overcrowded and old. Air pollution is high, and neighborhoods often lack parks. Walking is difficult with narrow sidewalks, tricky crossings, and constant noise. Water shortages force people to ration daily use. Suburbs are far from transport, causing long commutes. Even with a rich culture, city planning struggles to keep up with growth. Mexico City shows that big size without proper design causes inefficiency, stress, and environmental problems. Daily life tests patience and endurance as residents face long, crowded, and noisy commutes just to get around. Life is a constant balance between survival and culture.